the player makes the decision. It's just my job to thoroughly analyse their game. And in the past, it has been Reece, and he's done a great job in that one jersey for Queensland. But I just feel that Hammer deserves that opportunity. He's playing some great football.
Welcome to another edition of the Billy Slater Podcast. We are on location this week at Maroons camp, getting ready for the decider. We're here, of course, thanks to Tab. Billy, what an exciting time. Opportunity for you, the coaching staff, and most importantly, the players to get ready for a decider.
Yeah, well, 3 weeks ago, we were pretty much in the same position, Salty, getting ready for a do-or-die game. Just fortunate to be in this same position. The alternate would have been a little bit more depressing, but we're going to Sydney for a decider, and there's 10 days of preparation in front of us to help get our game right.
Take us through the decision-making process in going with the Hammer to replace Kalyn. Unfortunate for Kalyn. I think it gets lost in a lot of this, that we feel sorry for him with the foot injury, but with the Hammer winning the number one jersey. Yeah,
I think that's the first thing that I'll talk about is just the disappointment for Kalyn. I actually called that game for Channel 9, and I was looking at the wide angle, and I could see Kalyn sort of go down limping after playing the football, and it was only a play later that Canberra got the ball and scored a try. But I actually don't even know how they scored or who scored. I was actually watching Kalyn and seeing how much trouble he was in, and my first feeling and heart goes to the player. I know how hard they work to get to this point. I know what Kalyn's been through. Obviously had a tremendous series in 2022, and then was unavailable until Game 3 last year. To be back in this position and playing in that position, I know what he's gone through, so I really felt for Kalyn. And talking to him on the Saturday he was pretty dejected. So that was my first thought, and then obviously my mind goes to, okay, well, obviously that position needs to be filled, and who is the best person for that position? At the end of the day, that's the role of a coach, is actually making sure you put in the work, back your feel and your judgment around who the best person for that position is.
So you've gone with Hamiso to shift from the wing to play fullback. I know you're a big fan of his, you're a big fan of Reece. This wouldn't have been one that you would have just woken up on Saturday morning and gone, yep, okay, here's our man.
Yeah, look, I think I've always had the mindset around, the player makes the decision, or the players make the decision. It's just my job to thoroughly analyse their game and collate all that information and back the feel of why you're in this position. And in the past, it has been Reece, and he's done a great job in that one jersey for Queensland. But I just feel that Hammer deserves that opportunity. He's playing some great football, and I just felt that was the right decision for this footy team. And it certainly wasn't a guess. It was a calculated decision, and then once we made that decision, we had to obviously fill the Hammer's position on the wing.
He brings so much to any football team he plays in. I mean, we've sat next to each other and called games of his this year, and you just marvel at him. And do you feel that one of his great improvements, Billy, has been not just obviously he's one of the best support players in the game, but when he needs to pass, he's got a really lovely pass on him as well, if he needs to be that creative player as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's really developed his game over the last few years, and the other thing he's doing really well is stuff off the ball, and you don't necessarily get to see that on the angles that we show on television. So it's important to actually watch the game from all different angles, behind the goalposts, and make sure we understand what habits he's going to bring to the footy team in that position. And that was a part of the process, and he's really developed himself into understanding the game as a whole, but also understanding that position thoroughly. And he's doing a great job the times that he doesn't have the footy in his hand, and then, like you said, he's developed himself into a more rounded fullback with the ball.
Hope you don't mind me asking this. Was he your fullback at 3 o'clock Saturday or 9:30 on Saturday? Because I tell you what, they both played well, didn't they, on Saturday?
Yeah, look, I watched the Saturday games and I loved what they both did, and it probably just reiterated that, there's no wrong decision here. Like, I'm number one fan of the Reece Walsh fan club. I love what he brings. I love him as a person. I've got great respect for him, and I love the work that he puts into his game as well. And I'm going to enjoy the week having him here in camp. So, look, it was, the game probably didn't make the decisions either way. It was more the habits in their game at the moment and where they're both at. And the Hammer's doing a great job, and like I said, I just felt that he deserves that opportunity.
All right, well, one person who put in a great Origin audition on Saturday, and to be fair, has done all season, was a bloke who probably didn't even realise, Billy, that he was going to be playing in the NRL so consistently as what he has done. That's Gehamat Shibasaki. I think this is a wonderful story. We've spoken plenty of times about these Origin fairy tales that we've had for Queensland over such a long time. But Gehamat, take us through from your point of view what he's done to earn the right to put this Maroons jumper on.
Yeah, halfway through that question, Salty, I just got a chill down my spine. It was like it's literally like a dream, isn't it? And it's a dream for every one of us that have played for Queensland. Like, I grew up in far north Queensland, and I had that dream. And Gehamat growing up in Townsville, I'm sure he would have had that dream from when he's a little boy. And this footy team, I've always said that this footy team inspires our people. The players in this footy team inspire individuals in our state. And Gehamat's story over not just the past 6 months, but the 27 years that he's been a Queenslander, it's been a real inspiration, and I'm sure he's going to be inspiring, kids out there that anything's possible. You work hard and you knuckle down and do a good job and build good habits. You can succeed, and he's really earned this opportunity. And the two things I said to him was, the first one is to play in this footy team, you need to be capable, you need to have the habits in your game that are at the standard of this footy team, and the second one, the opportunity needs to be put in front of you, and those two things aligned over the weekend for him.
He gets a lot of accolades for what he does with the ball, but I know that Michael Maguire in particular has been impressed with his defence, and obviously you have as well. And he was up against a couple of pretty handy outside backs on the weekend, and to be fair, the last month or so, and he's handled things very well.
Yep, he's got great principles in his game, like our other centre, Rob Toyer. They work really well off the football, and that's what puts you in a good position to be a good defender, to make your tackles. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and there's a lot of movement before you actually make a tackle, and 90% of the time you have to put that work in without even knowing you're going to make the tackle, and 90% of the time you don't make the tackle, but you still have to do it every time, and that's a part of his game that he's obviously risen over the last 6 months, and he really values that, and I value that in a player as well.
You think about that journey, and we talk about it, where in and out of the NRL, playing in the Queensland Cup, it's a great lesson for so many, isn't it? Just you do the hard work, rewards will come. The reward came for him for an NRL contract with the Broncos, and now a Queensland jersey, and it's fantastic.
Not just in sport, not just in rugby league, but in life in general. It's a great lesson that it's not always going to fall your way. Sometimes that's your doing, sometimes it's not. And, the sun will come up tomorrow, and it's about knuckling down. And if you really want to achieve a goal, you set your sights on it and you put in the hard work, and you never know what's possible. And it's a great story. And like I said, it's a real inspiration to our people of Queensland.
Speaking of inspiration, he's back. Big Papa. Josh Papali'i. This is exciting. I can't wait to see him back out in the Queensland jumper, in and around the camp. When did you decide, you know what, might be time to make that phone call?
I've always had it in the back of my mind. Obviously, he hasn't played since 22. He retired after that series, and I just always thought that, you know, maybe Big Papa had another one in him, and you know, I just feel the time is right now. It's right for this footy team. They could use a bit of Big Papa, and it's also right for him because he's playing out of his skin at the moment. There's a reason why the Canberra Raiders are sitting on top of the ladder, and they're all doing a great job. But he's playing his part. He's certainly playing his part in it, and looking forward to seeing him. He's not going to come into camp today, which his family, his wife Seppa, has just had another boy on Friday, so his priority is being the dad for the next couple of days and getting his family settled, and then he'll pop into camp in a couple of days' time and get after his preparation. So I look forward to seeing him.
I think we've spoken about him in the last few weeks. It might have been after he had the record-breaking game for Canberra, most capped Raider of all time, and you were talking about, you know, just Papali'i the person. Everyone sees the player, but what he will do for. And we've got a lot of players in this Queensland team who are going to experience an Origin decider for the first time. One who's experiencing Origin for the first time in Gehamat. He's the perfect person for the culture of the team too, away in the build-up this week.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's a great person. He is a very respectful, well-respected human being. I love him as a person, and you know, he's just got that aura about him that, you know, you feel safe in Big Papa's company, and you know, that might rub off and help the players just settle into their role. At the end of the day, you know, Papa will bring his actions on the field, and all he has to do is play his part, and then everyone else needs to you know, trust that he's going to do that, and you know, honour their role in the footy team. So he's a great man, and I'm looking forward to having him around. But at the end of the day, it's all about that performance next Wednesday night. Yeah,
for sure. As far as one thing that he brings is that you talk about the aggression that he brings. And I know you don't look at too much of the opposition, but he's the sort of player that will have them thinking, oh, we've got to deal with Papa now, and the attraction that he'll have in the middle of the ground. Do you think that might free up a little bit more room for others, given the attention that Josh will deserve?
Look, I don't think he'll get any more attention than another front rower. I just think that, you know, his priority is just about doing his job, and you know, if he can do his job well, you know, that'll allow Harry Grant to do his job well, and you know, Cameron Munster and Kurt Capewell, and like all these players around them, they'll just be able to do their job. So it's just about everyone contributing to the footy team, and you know, I don't know if he'll attract any more attention than anyone else, but you know, he's certainly a welcome guy to have in the footy team.
This is the Billy Slater Podcast. Thanks to Tab. We're here with Billy Slater. The NRL season is here for the best time in sport. Tab has the best app in sport. Tab, we're on.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Fans always ask, Loza, what was the best era of league? And I tell them, nothing beats the line-breaking, flick-passing, goose-stepping, bankers flying, turbo try-scoring, origin drought-breaking, simply the best era of footy we're in right now. And with more market stats and insights, it's easy to enjoy the best era in footy with the best app in footy.
Tab. We're on.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Moving on to the game overall in Sydney, what was your main takeaway after Game 2, leading into the I suppose the theme of your preparation?
Yeah.
Heading into this week?
There's always a balance between analysing what we did well, and there was a fair bit that we got right as opposed to Game 1. And then at the same time looking for those incremental improvements, you know, that we didn't quite get right. And obviously, naturally you fall into the 15 errors. It's a very greasy and slippery night, but 15 errors in a State of Origin game just heaps a whole heap of pressure on you. And that resulted in field position and possession swinging towards New South Wales. 48 tackles in our own 20-metre zone is quite a high number, as opposed to only 27 that we got in New South Wales attacking zone. So, we'd like to try and even those numbers up a little bit, and then, there's some other parts of our game that we'll slightly adjust, but not discarding some of the good stuff that we did do.
When you get to game 3, and you've been through quite a number of series now, as plenty of you include player and coach, but particularly from a coaching point of view, and you've got the nucleus of the team is there despite having to make a couple of changes along the way. Is it more of now, okay guys, we know each other's game, when you get into your training later in the week, that you can start working on a little bit more finer details, because you've had now, what is it, a total of say pretty much a month with the players across the 2 previous games?
Yeah, they have a good understanding of what their game looks like and what they're chasing. So it's about prioritising that part of the game before you actually put the icing on the cake. So making sure that we acknowledge that and get that part of the game right first, because there's no point putting the roof on the house when you haven't got any walls up. So it's about building the foundation of our footy game again. That's our priority, and then there's a few touches on top of it.
All right, as far as next week goes, forget about the team. How much are you looking forward to it for yourself? The challenge, because I know how much of a competitor you are and how much you'll be relishing this opportunity, this occasion for next week. Yeah,
look, the week at home last week was really good, but I was flying back from Perth, and I actually felt a drive to actually come straight here and get into our preparation. It's being a part of a preparation for a decider it's great. It's really good, and as a player, now that I've retired, looking back, they're the ones that you remember. They're the ones that you go, oh geez, I wish I could play one more game in that environment. So it's going to be great, but at the end of the day, we've got a process to undertake over the next 9 to 10 days. You need to make sure that we're putting one foot in front of the other there and not jumping steps, and then we'll get to Wednesday night, and hopefully we've given ourselves the best chance to play well.
So, Billy, time for our AMPOL Power Surge this week. And AMPOL, whether you're cheering on from the sidelines or from the living room, AMPOL's got your back on and off the field, proud to power Australia's own sporting nation. When do you decide what that final message will be to the team? Because it's, I know you talk to them a lot throughout the week. You'll get them in tonight and the next couple of days. Talk to them about the expectations, but that final message, when do you have it in your head, Billy, about this is what I'm going to deliver to the side? Yeah,
that's probably something that drip feeds into your mind throughout the week. The one thing that I have come to learn is that if it's not important to say, don't say it, and that's something that I'm very conscious of. Last game it was very relaxed, and I didn't even really have a premeditated thought until probably game day. In the past, I've had a pretty conscious thought. It's about the feel, and you've got to feel what the group needs. Sometimes, the warm-up gives you something that you need to talk about. It's just about feeling the moment and realising what's important for that next period in front of them, and giving them that narrow focus.
And has Nate and JT been delivering the messages properly? Do they need a bit of a pep talk?
No,
are they okay?
They're doing pretty good.
Especially Jonathan, is he okay?
Yeah. Nate just told me this morning, less words. Less words.
Less words or smaller words?
He gets confused, the big fella.
Yeah. Well, mate, all the best. Thanks for joining us for the Billy, it's your podcast. Mate, all the best next week. I'm sure everyone watching and listening at home wishes you all the very best for Origin 3 next week. We look forward to it.
Thanks, Salty. Is Cam Smith taking over next week? Is it Is Billy Slater getting crossed out?
I know,
and
we
Cameron
heard.
Smith.
Have we heard? I know he's taking over your place on the Sunday Footy Show and getting paid handsomely for it.
Well, I got an invoice from him the other day through my emails. Geez, his price has gone up since he was playing.
Well, I think he wants to do it, so because of the price.
All right.
Yeah.
Well done, Cam.
Yeah, good work. Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Salty. Cheers, mate.